everyone, welcome back to my channel. Robert E. Howard, the father of pulp fiction and the sword and sorcery subgenre, wrote 3 pirate stories which are all in here. So the 3 stories are as follows: Swords of the Red Brotherhood, Black Vulmea's Vengeance, and The Isle of Pirates' Doom. Only one of these has actually been published, and it was Black Vulmea's Vengeance, the title story. This was published in the Golden Fleece in 1938 in November, like 1 year away from World War II starting, but it was also published posthumously because Robert E. Howard killed himself in 1936. He never got to see his pirate tales out and about. Now, the first story, Swords of the Red Brotherhood, did get rewritten to not be a Black Vulmea story. Rather, it was adapted into Conan. So that one sort of made it into publication differently, but a lot of people on the internet, from what I gathered, really much prefer it to be the pirate story that it is here. And the third story, The Isle of Pirates' Doom, did not make it into publication, but recently, one of my favorite audio channels on YouTube uploaded an audiobook of that story. It's about an hour and a half. It's beautifully narrated, and I'm gonna link it down below in case you're up for listening to a fun tale of piracy. Now, to back up just a bit, sword and sorcery isn't really my genre, and I think in a post-Tolkien world, fantasy looks a lot different. I think Tolkien kind of added this heaviness and gravitas to fantasy, where things got a lot darker, there was a lot more character building, and things got a little bit clashed with this literary kind of world building that got serious and historically influenced in a very serious way. So what we're dealing with here in the early 20s and 30s is that we have this light pulp fiction where you have adventure stories that resemble vignettes that you would see in something like Edgar Rice Burroughs. And it's also something that you'd kind of encounter now in Marvel movies, where you have a lot of banter, a lot of action, and you kind of get in and get out without lingering for too long. And if you're looking for that kind of thing and sort of light fun, Robert E. Howard might be a great place to start. And keep in mind that he wrote all of these things in his 20s. I was introduced to him last year when I was reading through the Weird Tales anthology, because he's very much a part of the weird fiction genre circle. He was good friends with Lovecraft, but he does write differently. His weirdness goes in a different direction that's more Dungeons and Dragons and less weird and creepy. So the first story, we get introduced to a lot of other characters, and Black Vulmea, or Terence Vulmea, gets introduced halfway through the story. So this is kind of our introduction to this rough pirate, and he gets stranded. There's a lot of fighting. It's kind of fun, but it's sort of light, and it's really tough to get into it because you're expecting this pirate narrative to show up at some point, and it just comes a bit too late, in my opinion. It could have been restructured a little bit better. But the title story is where Howard really shines in this collection. So I can understand why this is the one that actually got published. Terence is on his ship with his crew, and this English ship comes right at the beginning of the story, and they get taken, and his entire crew gets slaughtered. And then there's a lot of banter back and forth between him and Wayard? Sorry, I always confuse him with the guy's name who actually slaughtered Blackbeard in real life, Wentyard. As they do this back and forth, Vulmea says, I know why you want to find this other pirate, and I know why you're taking me, but what you really want is treasure, and I know the location of a treasure that we found that was amazing and incredible and so big and shiny. But we couldn't leave that island with it because there was another pirate crew that arrived, and then we started fighting. But I can take you there if you give me my life. And while they don't agree that his life would be spared, he at least buys himself some time. And then we get into a lot of sword fighting and a lot of ambushing, and we do have indigenous people on the island. You get a lot of that Treasure Island plus Edgar Rice Burroughs kind of vibe and mood as we have these light vignettes of people fighting and interacting. Personally, it really reminded me of an episode of like Xena warrior princess, which I think is heavily influenced by the sword and sorcery genre. So that was just such a fun, light story to be part of this week, and to just kind of be there with all the pirates. Really fun. And then the third story features a female pirate, Helen. And again, we're kind of going through that, oh no, you're like, what? You're a pirate and a girl, and how beautiful she is, and oh, she's so good at sword fighting. See, I think there's a part of me, after reading so much and so many books about character, and, you know, having this like post-feminist reading of literature, there's a part of me always that goes like, well, you know, like the female characters are not that well developed, but like, have you seen Conan? This is how Terrence Vulmea is supposed to look like and be like. I did try to capture some of the illustrations from this book on camera to show you a little bit what we see in the classic presentation. It's really nice and colorful, but on the internet I was able to find black and white outlines as well of some of the adventure stories. I think it would have been fun to see what it was presented like in the actual Golden Fleece. So to conclude, if you're looking for a fun, light time of escapism and pure joy, without thinking too much, without analysis, just pure escapism, I do think you should give Robert E. Howard's stories a try. And if you like pirates, go for these ones. If you like kind of land, I guess, go for Conan and for his other stuff. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye!